Okay. In Science 1, we have already completed 3 chapters: gravitation, space missions, and periodic classification of elements. We will start a 4th chapter for the year, which is chapter number 3 in the textbook, which is chemical reactions and equations. And we will do what we do whenever we start a new chapter. We will first see what that chapter contains, what we need to know, what we will study in the chapter. But before we start studying the chapter, we will try to get ready with what all we should have studied before, what we need to know before we start the chapter. So you will need your pencils, you will need your pens, you will use your pen on the notebook, and you will use your pencils on the textbooks if you need to annotate. लिखना पड़ेगा, सवाल के जवाब देने पड़ेंगे. Okay. So this is how the session will be. This session will be. I'll show you the chapter in the textbook. We will go through the prerequisites. कि chapters पढ़ने से पहले हमको और किस चीज की जरूरत पड़ेगी. Then we will understand how do we write a lab journal, how do we write experiments, how do we document experiments. Then we will start studying the current chapter. We will look at chemical reactions and we will start looking at chemical equations. All these things we will do in this session. So what all we are going to study this in this chapter? First thing will be chemical reactions. And when we study chemical reactions, we will try to understand what chemical reactions are and why chemical reactions happen, why chemicals react. These are the 2 questions that we will answer. Maybe some of it we already studied. Another thing that we will study in this chapter is what chemical equations are. So we are going to study about chemical equations. So here we will understand what they are and how do we write the chemical equations. Also, how do we read the chemical equations. First, we will understand what chemical reactions are, why do they happen. Then we will understand what chemical equations are, how do we write and how do we read them. But there is much more to this chapter, and that much more is we will study in detail about different types of chemical reactions. We will study what those different types of reactions are, why do they happen, and how do they happen. And when we study these different types of chemical reactions, we will also try to write them in the form of equations, chemical equations. So this is a long chapter. This chapter has a lot of information. This chapter has a little bit of mathematics, very, very less, very simple mathematics. And most of the questions in this chapter are short questions. Most of the questions in this chapter are very to the point question. Describe ऐसे नहीं होता. It will be like write the equation or tell what is happening here, what is happening there. Such questions will be very sciencey questions. So let us see how the chapter looks in the textbook. So in the textbook, this chapter starts on page number 30. You should be looking at page number 30 in your textbooks now, the textbook that you have at your place. So the chapter starts with chemical reaction. So there are a couple of pages about what chemical reactions are. Okay. But we have studied this. Most of it we have already studied previously last year. The real chapter starts from here, page number 32, chemical equations. And it's a very mathematical looking part. It continues to another page which says balancing a chemical equation. So from chemical reaction to chemical equation to balancing a chemical equation. Continues to page number 35. And on page number 35, this is where the information heavy part of the chapter starts. The logic heavy part is page number 30 to 35. The information heavy part starts from page number 35. So we will look at these types of reaction in particular: combination reaction, decomposition reaction, displacement reaction, endothermic and exothermic reactions. We will also try to understand how we can increase the speed of the reaction or decrease the speed of the reaction. So one of the main things that we will study in this part is catalyst. You may be aware of this word, catalyst and enzymes. We have used these words before last year. Oxidation and reduction reactions. We will look at one specific type of reaction which is not good for our day-to-day life, which is corrosion. And within corrosion, we will understand how rusting happens. Rusting is kaise lohe mein jung lagta hai, what happens, why it happens, how we can prevent it. We will also understand rancidity. Rancidity is कि अगर जो खाने का तेल है, अगर वो बहुत पुराना हो जाए या फिर एक उसी तेल में हम बार बार हम खाना पकाएं, so it goes stale, खराब हो जाता है. That's called rancidity. Why it happens? That also we will study. So this chapter has a lot of information which is logical, theoretical, and it also has a lot of information which will help us understand how different things in life are happening. There are different phenomena in our day-to-day life. We will see, we will understand how those things happen, why those things happen, good or bad. The questions in the exercise are, as I told you, we don't have many long answer questions. The only long answer question is question number 3, explain. Otherwise is very short questions. And there are a lot of questions. I had told you this already. Chapter number 2 and chapter number 3 of the chapter have a lot of questions, of the textbook have a lot of questions. This is the chapter, and it ends on page number 45. Starts from 30, page number 45. So 16 pages long. Some of the things, or a lot of things that we need to know before we start reading this chapter, we have studied in previous years, class 8, class 9, maybe in class 7 also, when you studied about different types of chemical reactions. So these are the things that either we have or we should have studied. Number 1, elements and compounds, basic concepts, examples, understanding of different elements and compounds. Can one of you please give me an example of an element? You can speak, you can type. Thank you, Prachi. Oxygen is an example of an element. Thank you, Khadija. Hydrogen is another example of an element. Can one of you please give me an example of a compound? Yes, water is a compound. Chand is saying hydroxides. No, hydroxides is not a compound. If you say sodium hydroxide, then it is a compound. Chanda is saying helium. Chanda, helium is an element, not a compound. Khadija is saying common salt. Prachi is saying common salt. Yes, these are compound. Common salt is a compound, and common salt is a common name of that compound. Anushka is saying carbon dioxide. Yes, correct. Carbon dioxide is a gas and it's a compound. Good. What else do we need to know? We also need to understand atoms and molecules. Atoms and molecules. Now, quickly remind me, what are atoms made up of? What are the 3 things that the atoms are made up of? Chand, hydroxide, hydride, they are classes of compounds. They are not, when I ask you, when anyone asks you to give an example of a compound, then you will have to be specific. Hydride and hydroxide, they are classes of compounds. They are groups of compounds. So Aman is saying atoms are consisting of small particles. Okay, Rahul has raised his hand. Let us see. Let us hear what he has to say. Yes, Rahul. What are atoms made up of?
The atom are made up of proton, neutron.
Atoms are made up of three things: electrons, protons, and neutrons. Electrons, protons, and neutrons. Now, if I challenge you to tell me that atom, tell me which atom does not have one of these three things. It has only two things. Which is that atom? Correct. Hydrogen. Hydrogen atom, the normal hydrogen atom, it only has a proton and electron. It doesn't have any neutrons, right? So yes, when what consists of or what makes atoms? What are atoms consisting of? The answer is electrons, protons, and neutrons. But there is one exception, which is hydrogen, which does not have, the atoms of hydrogen do not have neutrons in them. Okay? What are molecules made up of? All the questions are in logical order. What are molecules made up of? Try type it, Rahul. Thank you, Usman. Molecules are made up of atoms. Correct answer. Molecules are made up of atoms. Correct. Another thing that we need to know, we must know for this chapter is valency. Okay? And we studied about valency last year itself, and we understood more about valency when we studied periodic classification of elements. We now know, if we know where the element is in the periodic table, then we can know what its valency is. So now finding the valency has become easier for us. We will revise that. We also need to understand chemical bonds. What are the two types of chemical bonds? Anyone, if you remember? What are the two types of chemical bonds? One is ionic, correct? What's the other one? The other one starts with a C. Covalent. Very good, Karthik. So, ionic and covalent bonds. Formulae of compounds, we need to know as many, the more we know, the better it will be for us. And one of the two of the most common examples are H2O for water and CO2 for carbon dioxide. Good. We have also studied something about physical and chemical changes. We have studied something about physical and chemical changes. So these are the things that we have or we should have studied before this chapter. So let us try quickly revise what these things are: elements and compounds. You have already told me, you have already given me examples of elements and compounds. So I have a smart question for all of you. Take your time. Read the question carefully and then write the answer in your notebook before you raise your hand. So I'm going to list certain things on the screen. All you have to do is you have to identify the elements and compounds. You have to give me the names of what elements or what compounds you see. The list is coming to your screen now. Do it in your notebook. H and H2. H and H2. Both are elements. Right? And in both cases, the element is hydrogen. H2O is the compound, only compound. And the name is water. The last two, O2 and O, both are elements. And the name is oxygen. Hydrogen, hydrogen, water, oxygen, oxygen. Element, element, compound, element, element. You have explained me what elements are, what compounds are. You have explained to me what atoms are, what molecules are. Right? Atoms are made up of electrons, protons, and neutrons. Molecules are made up of atoms. So let us see what do we do with that information? Are we able to identify atoms or molecules or not? Once again, a smart question coming to your screen. Once again, there will be a list, and all you have to do is, from the list, identify the atoms and molecules from the list and name them. Here is the list. Yeah, and yes, it is the same list. That is why the fun. Now here what is happening is, let me try write it properly. H is an atom. O is an atom. H2 is a molecule. O2 is another molecule. H2O is another molecule. Now H2 and O2 are molecules of elements, whereas H2O is a molecule of a compound. Very important to understand this. Atoms of particular element can combine with atoms of the same element to form molecules of that element. So H combines with H to form H2. O combines with O2. O combines with O to form O2. So it is still element, but atom is turning into a molecule. Generally, we don't get H. We only get H2 in free state. In the air, we have hydrogen in the form of H2. We have oxygen in the form of O2. And when atoms of different elements combine, another type of molecule is formed, because now these molecules will have different types of atoms, and these are molecules of the compounds. This is the difference between molecule of elements and molecules of compounds. We can also say that elements are formed of only one type of atoms, whereas compounds are made up of at least two types of atoms. With that, let us move to another concept, valency. Now when we study about valency, it is all about stable electronic configuration. Ab to hum class 10 mein aa gaye hain. We have studied periodic classification of elements. We have studied in detail the electronic configuration. You should be able to write the electronic configuration of calcium. If I tell you calcium, then you should be telling me, yes sir, we know the electronic configuration of calcium is 2882. What is the electronic configuration of neon? Check your textbook. Go to the periodic table and tell me what is the electronic configuration of neon. Look at the periodic table and find out the electronic configuration of neon. Very good. 2 correct answers. 4 correct answers in the chat. 2, 8. We know. So Stable electronic configuration is when we have 8 in the end, in the last shell, which is also called as the valence shell. VALENCE. ये नहीं है, ये नहीं है, ये लास्ट शेल में 8 होना चाहिए, या फिर हाइड्रोजन के केस में जैसा होता है 2, हीलियम के केस में जैसा होता है 2 होना चाहिए. So 8 से निकलता है हमारा octet. We have come across these words last year and we studied these words once again this year in chapter number 2. Okay, this is electronic configuration and this is what is meant by stable electronic configuration. Neon is stable, calcium is not stable क्योंकि उसके वैलेंस शेल में सिर्फ 2 है. So या तो वो ये इसको किसी तरीके से लास्ट में वो 8 बनाने की कोशिश करेगा. There are multiple ways, and because of those multiple ways, we can define valency in 3 parts, right? Not 1, 3 parts. Valency is the number of electrons that an atom gains. Valency is also the number of electrons that the atom loses. Valency is also the number of electrons that the atom shares. And why will these things happen? To gain, lose, share, to get stable electronic configuration, to achieve stable electronic configuration. So calcium will lose these 2 and will form Ca+2. Neon will not do anything, it is already stable. If we have oxygen, which is 2,6, so oxygen will take 2 electrons and will make O-2. So oxygen is gaining 2 electrons and calcium is losing 2 electrons. Sharing, one sharing case we have studied is carbon, where carbon shares 1 electron with hydrogen, another electron with another hydrogen, another electron with another hydrogen, another electron with another hydrogen. Carbon's electronic configuration is 2, 4. So these 4 electrons, 1, 2, 3, 4, they are shared with 1 each electron of hydrogen to form what compound? What is the name of this compound? The formula is CH4. What is the name of this compound? Methane. Correct, Khadija. It forms methane, and we have studied this earlier. Okay. So valency is the number of electrons that are gained, lost, or shared by an atom to achieve a stable electronic configuration. Chemical bonds. You have already reminded me that chemical bonds are of 2 types, like ionic and covalent. But smart students, you remember this. Now, tell me what is the difference between ionic and covalent bonds? How are they different? And how are these relevant? How is the concept of chemical bonds related to valency? Why are we studying them together, one after the other? There is a link. Think. Two types of chemical bonds are formed. Chemical bonds is a joint between chemicals. Chemicals, when we are saying chemicals, we are referring to the atoms of different elements. And the joints, they are formed either by transfer of electrons or sharing of electrons. Remember, whenever transfer happens, electrons will be lost and electrons will be gained. कहीं से निकलेगा और कहीं पे जाएगा ना. So transfer involves gaining and losing of electrons. So this is related to valency in a way कि हम the number of electrons that is lost, the number of electrons that is gained, and the number of electrons that are shared. That is the valency. And when the electrons are lost or gained, it results in formation of ionic bonds. When the electrons are shared, that results in formation of covalent bonds. So NaCl कैसे बना याद करो. Na पहले Na+ बनाता है, Cl minus बनाता है, and then they join. Another way to say the same thing is one electron sodium loses to chlorine, and because of this a bond is formed between sodium and chlorine. This bond is an ionic bond. Na+ is a cation, Cl- is an anion. Is it right or is it wrong? Na+ is a positive ion, it's a basic radical. Cl- is a negative ion, it's an acidic radical. Whereas the case of methane, where carbon is sharing its electrons with hydrogen, these bonds here in methane, they are covalent bonds. So covalent bonds are formed by sharing of electrons, and ionic bonds are formed by transfer of electrons. Once we have understood, revised the concepts of valency and the concept of chemical bonds, then we can try remember how we wrote the formulae for different compounds. We will take two very simple examples: common salt and sulfuric acid. Common salt and sulfuric acid. And this was part of your, one of them was part of your pre-work also. Try remember the formula for common salt and sulfuric acid. Don't look it to the textbook. Many places it says SUL FURIC. Some places it says SUL PHURIC. I'll check again and correct the spelling. So some students are saying common salt is NaCl. Yes, correct. And what is the formula for sulfuric acid? Correct. So NaCl is the common salt. सोडियम क्लोराइड बहुत बार हमने लास्ट ईयर देखा था. NaCl. सल्फ्यूरिक एसिड इज H2SO4. और याद करो, how did we arrive at these things? We started कि सोडियम क्लोराइड, common salt is sodium chloride. Sodium is Na+, chloride is Cl-, plus is 1+, minus is 1-. Then we interchange these numbers. So this becomes Na1Cl1. दोनों 1 है, so we just ignore the ones and we will write NaCl. Similarly, sulfuric acid is formed of plus and SO4 minus 2. So H plus is the hydrogen at ion, and SO4 minus 2 is the sulfate ion. Plus is 1+, minus 2 is 2. Number अगर देखें तो. Now once again we interchange. So this becomes H2SO4 1. Multiplying with 1, nothing changes. So we write H2SO4. In class 9, when we studied this part of chemistry, we studied about ions and radicals. we studied about basic radicals and acidic radicals. We studied how, looking at the radical, we can find the valency. If you look at hydrogen ion, basic radical, H plus, valency is 1. If you look at hydride ion, which is an acidic radical, H minus, its valency is also 1. But if you look at, say, sulfite or sulfate, now the valency is 2. So by knowing how these radicals are formed, we can know what the valencies are, and from the valency, we can write the formula of the molecules. And this will be required for this chapter also. This knowledge will be required for this chapter also. And similar thing happens when covalent bonds are formed. Same thing. The only difference is instead of transferring the electrons, they are shared. So valency of carbon is 4. Valency of hydrogen is 1. CH4. But the sharing can happen in multiple different ways, and that is why we don't say that this is the formula. We will understand. We will look at these covalent compounds, especially hydrocarbons, in much more detail later in the year. But the one element combines with the other element, or one radical combines with the other radical. One group of atoms combines with the other group of atoms depending on its valency. Valency is number of electrons that are taking part in the bond formation, number of electrons that are transferred, number of electrons that are lost, number of electrons that are gained, number of electrons that are shared. So that concept remains same. Everything here depends on electrons. And that is what we realized in case of when we studied periodic classification of elements. The modern periodic law says that the functions of elements, properties of elements are periodic functions of their atomic number. But we realized that ultimately these properties are periodic functions of their electronic configuration. That is why all this drama. The world is not constant. World is constantly changing. Things are changing in the world. Some changes are physical, some changes are chemical. Apologies for the spelling mistake. It should have been L. Physical and chemical. Let me try explain to you what physical and chemical changes are, and let us see if you are able to give me examples. In physical change, the composition of the matter does not change. Composition of matter means matter jisse bana hai. Whereas in case of a chemical change, the composition of the matter changes. Physical changes are most often temporary, whereas chemical changes are permanent. Physical changes are specifically about changes in the state of the matter, temperature, pressure. But chemical changes are about breaking and forming of bonds. Breaking and forming of bonds. If this is the difference, if this is what physical and chemical changes are, can you try give me at least one example of a physical change and one example of a chemical change? Tearing of paper. Now let us see if it is physical change or not. When we tear a paper, the paper still remains paper. So there is no change in the composition of the matter, correct? Is it temporary? फाड़ दिया तो फाड़ दिया, क्या हम उसको जोड़ सकते हैं? नहीं. Is there a change in the state, temperature, pressure? नहीं, ये भी नहीं हो रहा है. ना ये हो रहा है, ना ये हो रहा है. So is it a physical change? It is still a physical change. Yes, it is a physical change. And Anushka is saying, I don't know, Anushka, where you got this answer, but your answer is very nice. And Anushka is saying, burning of paper. Burning of paper is no longer a chemical change, and no longer a physical change. It is a chemical change, because when the paper burns, then we don't have any paper left. We have some black thing, which is carbon. A gas is produced, which is carbon dioxide. You know, the paper is no longer there. Now we have carbon and carbon dioxide. But ये जो paper फाड़ा है हमने, there is a method where we can again make paper from the torn paper. And yes, when the paper is burning, the paper is cellulose. Cellulose is carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. The bonds between carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen, they break, and new bonds are formed between carbon and oxygen, between carbon and carbon, hydrogen and hydrogen. Right? So all this, correct. So burning of paper is a chemical change. Tearing of a paper is physical change. Yes, correct. If you have understood this, then let us see if you can answer the next question, which is coming onto your screen, which is a question from your textbook. 9 different phenomena are given. We need to identify whether each of these phenomena they are physical change or a chemical change. Should not take more than a minute. Now match your answers. First one, transformation of ice into water is physical. Cooking of food is chemical, because complex bonds are broken down. Ripening of fruit is chemical. Milk turning into curd is a chemical change. Evaporation of water is a physical change. Digestion of food is a chemical change. Chewing of food is a physical change. Size reduction of naphthalene balls is because of the chemical reaction, so chemical change. Staining of Shabadi and Kadapa tile by lemon juice is a chemical change. Breaking of glass object on falling from a height is a physical change. Look at the first page of your chapter, bottom of the page. The page number is 30. There is a section which starts with try this. Start reading from try this. Read all the 5 things that it has asked you to try. Show me a thumbs up when you have read it. Now, in this activity, it tells us what things we are using, what chemicals we are using, what we are doing with them. 5 actions, 5 different activities. Now, imagine, not imagine, just make a guess. Just read what those 5 things are. Activity 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And based on your limited knowledge, based on our limited knowledge of what is a chemical change, what is a physical change, just make a guess कि ये जो 5 चीजें दी गई हैं, what are they? Are they physical change? Are they chemical change? Just make a guess. And when you are making a guess, try give me a reason. If you are saying, for example, if you tell me that activity 1 is a case of physical change, tell me why you are saying it. Okay? I promise you, we will come back to this as we are studying the chapter, and we will complete this properly. There is no way we can do this right now because we are not in the lab. So we will not do that. We will make a guess right now today. And as and when we read the more and more in the chapter, we will come back to this table and we will keep completing it. So for now, the task is that here, the experiment is asking you to do 5 different things. So look at these 5 different things and just make a guess कि ये जो 5 चीजें हैं, activity 1, whether it is physical or chemical change. Number 2, whether it is physical or chemical. 4, 5, 3, 4, 5. Write it in your notebooks. Tell me when you are ready. So if you see in the first activity, there is only one thing that we are using, that is limestone powder, right? In 2, we have zinc and copper sulfate. In 3, we have potassium chromate and barium sulfate. In 4, we have sodium carbonate and calcium chloride, right? So here we have more than one thing. So whenever we have more than one thing, most likely this will be a chemical change. Most likely, I'm not saying that always, I'm saying most likely this will be a chemical change. And when we have only one thing, whatever it is, here it is phthalic anhydride, and in the first one it is limestone, right? So when such cases happen, most cases this will be physical changes. I'm not saying that these are physical changes. I'm not saying, please mark my words. I've told you we will come back to this and understand what exactly is happening. But for the time being, let us make a guess that because in 1 and 5, we are dealing with only one compound, one material, most likely it will be a physical change. But in 2, 3, and 4, we are dealing with more than one materials. So most likely this will be a chemical change. So what I want you to do now in your textbook is just write using your pencil. Using your pencil, not pen, right? We are thinking that this is physical, chemical, 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 and physical. Just mark it with pencil. We will see it later whether it is correct or not. Confirm when you are done. Another thing that we need to remember, revise, and learn maybe is how do we write journals, how do we document our experiments. And this activity is a very, very nice example of how to do it. Okay? So if you have read this properly, then you would see that we should start with aim of the experiment. कि हम करना क्या चाहते हैं, हम क्या पता करना चाहते हैं. Every experiment should have an aim. It should not be an aimless experiment. Second, we should write what apparatus are required. Apparatus are equipments. जैसे कि इसमें है Bunsen burner, evaporating dish, the stand, all those things. Third, what chemicals are required? There's a long list of chemicals that are required. Limestone, copper sulfate, calcium chloride, potassium chromate, zinc, sodium carbonate, phthalic anhydride. So many things. Then we also need to write the procedure. Procedure is steps that we will take. What we will do with those chemicals. What will we do with those apparatus? Those are the things. Now, who can tell me what is the next step if this is how we are going to write an experiment, right? Document an experiment that we will conduct in any lab. What will be the next step? Look at this activity and tell me what will be the next step. First one is aim of the experiment. Second one is apparatus required. Third one is chemicals required. Very good, Prachi. Next one will be observation. Observation कैसे बनाना है? टेबल में, structured way में, randomly नहीं. यहाँ पे कुछ लिख दिया, वहाँ कुछ लिख दिया. Not that way. In a very organized, structured way, we will see what happens when we do what we do. There is one more thing that we have. It's not clearly written here, but there is one more thing that is part of science journal writing. What is that? Final step. We start with an aim. We need some apparatus. We need some chemicals. We do something with those chemicals and apparatus. We observe something. Then what? The final thing that we need to write is the conclusion. कि हमने इससे पता क्या किया? What did we learn from this? And this conclusion will give us the answer to the question that we would have written in the aim. So for example, perhaps the aim of this experiment is to find out whether what the change that we are observing is a physical change or a chemical change. So once we do that experiment, when we observe certain things based on our observation, we will conclude whether the change was a physical change or a chemical change. So conclusion is the last thing. And see how systematic this activity is. This is how science is done. Science is not done randomly. This is how anything, whether we are studying history, geography, political science, they are studying languages. But if you are studying mathematics, when we have a method, when we have a structure, when we work in a logical way, then that is called a scientific method. जो हम कर रहे हैं हम उससे सीख रहे हैं और उसको हम बार बार करेंगे देखने के लिए कि वो रिपीट होता है कि नहीं. So let us start with the current year. First, let us understand what a chemical reaction is. We have understood what a chemical change is. What is a chemical reaction? Chemical reaction is a process. In simple English, we say that whenever there is a chemical change, we say that there is a chemical reaction taking place. जहां पर chemical change होता है, we say that there is a chemical reaction taking place. Chemical change is the chemical reaction. Very good, Chand, right? It's about breaking of bonds. Chand answered even before I asked the question. So what is happening in a chemical reaction? In a chemical reaction, bonds are being broken and bonds are being formed. So practically speaking, there is no difference when we say chemical change or a chemical reaction. They refer to the same thing. In a more English way, we say chemical change. In a more sciencey way, we say chemical reaction. What happens in a chemical change? A chemical reaction happens. What happens in a chemical reaction? Chemical bonds are formed, new bonds. Chemical bonds are broken and new bonds are formed. Very simple. So let us understand this with an example. Example from your textbook. Formation of carbon dioxide by combustion of coal in the air. Now, what does it sound like English or does it sound like science? Science in English. Formation of carbon dioxide gas by combustion of coal in the air. What is combustion? Do you remember? There is an easier, smaller word for combustion. Say or type. It starts with a F or it starts with a B. Yes, Karthik, burning. Whenever we come across the word combustion, fire should come into our mind. Burning should come to our mind. And I have explained this to you that strictly speaking, combustion is not burning, but combustion, we can, for simplicity, we can say that combustion is burning. Carbon dioxide gas is formed by combustion of coal in the air. This is a chemical change. This is a chemical reaction in which carbon dioxide burns. No, carbon dioxide is formed when coal burns in the air. Some things are reacting. What are the things that are reacting in this reaction? Fast. Now this is English. What are the things that are reacting in this reaction? Two things are reacting. Chand is saying carbon. Can you see carbon anywhere in the sentence? No. We have carbon dioxide, we have coal, we have air. We don't have carbon. The two things are, Alfia correct, one is air and the other one is coal. So coal and air they are reacting, and everything that, all the things that react, they are called reactants. So in a chemical reaction, we have certain things which are reacting with each other. They are called reactants. Something is being produced here? What is being produced here? Carbon dioxide. Yes. And whatever is produced, it is called product. So every chemical reaction will have one or many reactants. Every chemical reaction will have one or many products. Reactants will react to form products. Chemical equations are just representation of a chemical reaction. It's just one method, one way of writing the chemical reaction. Okay. Some people even say that it is the language of chemistry. Chemical equations are part of language of chemistry. Languages have some alphabets. So I will say that when we are studying about chemistry, the alphabets are the symbols of the elements. So H for hydrogen, O for oxygen, those are the alphabets. Alphabets combine to form words. These words will be, in chemistry, the equivalent of the words will be the molecular formula. So if H is the alphabet, H2 is the word. If H and O are the alphabets, then H2O is a word. Of course, language doesn't finish just with alphabets and words. We have sentences. You tell me, what will be sentences in chemistry? You can tell, try. The chemical equations will become the sentences. Yes. So, अगर मैंने ऐसे लिख दिया, it is not correct, but it is almost a chemical equation. Sentence, alphabet, word, we have combined certain things and we have a sentence. We are calling it a chemical equations. And every language has some rules. It has a grammar. So this language also has some rules. And using that grammar, we will be able to write the chemical equations. As simple as that. That is what is the next thing that we are going to study. So how does a chemical equation look like? Okay. If we take the same example, okay, carbon dioxide is produced by combustion of coal in air. Now coal, my dear students, is mainly carbon. Air is a mixture of many gases, including oxygen. So when we burn carbon in air, what happens is it reacts with oxygen to form carbon dioxide. And the way we write it is this. These are our reactants. This is our product. There is no equal. Although we say equation, there is no equal to sign. This is how this is different from a maths equation. In mathematics, whenever we say equation, there is a equal to sign. Here we will not have equation, equal to sign. Wherever we will say chemical equation, we will have an arrow. And it just tells us कि यहाँ products हैं, यहाँ reactants. The change is happening from the reactants to the products. Now, what do we need to know with respect to chemical equations is two things. We should be able to write a chemical equation. We have already started doing this from class 5-6. Second thing is we need to understand a given chemical equation. मतलब क्या है? मतलब यह है कि अगर if someone tells you that coal carbon dioxide is produced by the combustion of coal in air, so from that you should be able to write C plus O2 gives rise to CO2. This is first part, writing a chemical equation. Second is कि अगर आपको ये इक्वेशन दिया है, then you should be able to tell me what is happening. You should be able to tell me C is carbon, O2 is molecule of oxygen, carbon is reacting with oxygen to form a molecule of carbon dioxide. This is what is meant by understanding a chemical equation. These are the two skills that we must have for this chapter. Let us try write a equation, chemical equation properly. And we are taking an example from your textbook only, which says add zinc dust into the copper sulfate solution. Does it look familiar? Have we seen this before? Where did we see this? Where is this in the textbook? Add zinc dust into the copper sulfate solution. Yes, the first activity of the try this. I told you, right? I promised you, we will come back to that table. All the 5 equations we will learn, but with patience. So the first thing was, for the first activity was add zinc dust into the copper sulfate solution. So there will be a change. Okay, let us see what is happening. Now in words, what we can say is copper sulfate solution. Copper sulfate solution means aqueous solution. Aqua is water. Zinc dust is zinc dust. We are adding zinc dust to the copper sulfate solution. That is why the plus sign. Then something is happening. We will understand by the end of this chapter. We will know what is happening. But what we will observe when we do that experiment is we will see that there will be a change in the color of the solution and copper will be formed. Do you remember what is the color of copper sulfate solution? We studied this in class 9. Do you remember copper sulfate? Blue, very good. Right? So copper sulfate solution will be blue, and when we add zinc to it, we will see that a new solution will be formed which will be colorless. And from that, we will be so sure that this is not a physical change, this is a chemical change. And this copper will be formed. Now, this is called a word equation, जो कि अभी चांद ने लिखने की कोशिश की थी. This is called a word equation. But if we make it a chemical equation, we need to use chemical formulae. So when we say copper sulfate is CuSO4. Sir told you we need to know the formula for molecules. Zinc, Zn. Zinc sulfate, ZnSO4. Copper is Cu. We need to know elements, we need to know compounds, we need to know molecules, we need to know atoms, we need to know valency. We should be able to form the molecular formula. Only then we will be able to write the chemical equation. First rule is reactants are written together, products are written together, and they are separated by an arrow. The arrow shows us the direction of the reaction. It tells us that these are the reactants and these are the products. That's all it means. Now, someone may ask, sir, can we write it like this? Like what? ZnSO4 plus Cu, ulta arrow, CuSO4 plus Zn. Can we write like this? Yes, we can write like this. Do we write like this? No, we don't. Because we are writing from left to right. We are writing from top to bottom. That is why we are doing this. So this is a convention. This is a rule. This is how we do. When there are more than one reactants and when there are more than one products, All of them need to be written, and they are separated by a plus sign. They are combining, no? They are reacting with each other. So the reactant, this is reactant 1, say, this is reactant 2. So there is a plus sign. Similarly, product 1, product 2. इसका मतलब ये नहीं है कि वो ऐड हो गया. In mathematics 2 plus 3 equals to 5. This is not maths. This plus here just indicates and. दोनों react कर रहे हैं. On the right hand side, दोनों produce रहे हैं. To make the information even more informative, क्योंकि हमने बोला था copper sulfate solution. We did not say copper sulfate. We said copper sulfate solution. But when we wrote in the previous step, we only wrote CuSO4. Now, if I see CuSO4 and Zn, I don't know whether it is a solution or what. So to indicate, to give more meaning to this equation, we add the state information. So when we write S, it means solid. Of course, if we write L, it will mean liquid. If we write G, it will mean gas. No rocket science. But the interesting thing is, sometimes an arrow will be written like this. This is the same meaning as gas. Sometimes an arrow will be written like this. It means solid. A solid which is a precipitate, जो नीचे जम गया. So in this case, we can also write CuS. And the arrows are not written in brackets. And whenever we say solution, solution is aqueous solution. So AQ. Many times, and if you look at the same activity, some of the reactions, we are heating the reactants, right? So heat is required sometimes, and sometimes heat is produced during the reaction. So if heat is produced during the reaction, it can be written as part of a product on the product side, right hand side. No surprises here. So if heat is produced, heat हमने लिख दिया यहाँ पर. And if heat is required, then we will write it on the arrow. We can write HEAT, or we can write a simple triangle, but we will not call it triangle, we will call it delta. The term from geography, delta. Delta here means the difference of the heat, difference in the energy. This here, CO2 arrow means carbon dioxide gas is released. इसी को हम लिख सकते थे CO2G. Same thing. Okay. Before we move on, do you think this is already there? We have come across this somewhere. Go back to the activity. See if it is related to the activity. Sometimes the reactions happen at a particular temperature, at a particular pressure, and or when something special is present, and that something special which makes a reaction possible is called a catalyst. For example, again इसके बारे में हमने लास्ट ईयर में डिस्कस किया था. अगर आपको याद हो, पहले एक आता था वनस्पति घी, डालडा करके, येलो वाले डब्बे में आता था. घी जैसा होता है लेकिन घी नहीं होता है. घी comes from milk. Ghee is an animal product, but वनस्पति घी is from vegetables. तो हम vegetable oil लेते हैं and we react it with hydrogen, and this cannot happen at any random temperature. We need a particular temperature, 60 degrees Celsius, and just having that temperature is not enough. We need nickel. Nickel needs to be there. Nickel does not participate in the reaction, but nickel makes the reaction possible. The hydrogen combines with the vegetable oil. New compound is formed, which is solid at room temperature. So the liquid vegetable oil is converted into solid vanaspati ghee. This process, we will study this process in a little bit more detail later in chemistry, in science 1, later in the year. We will study this as a process of hydrogenation. Guess karo, why is it called hydrogenation? We are adding hydrogen, no? So this method, this process is called hydrogenation. So to convey that special temperature, something special is required, that information can be written above or below the arrow. So the equation becomes even more meaningful. See, we have the state, we have the special temperature, and the catalyst information written in a simple equation format. More information can be included with the equation. More information like the name of the reactants and the products, and the nature of the reactants and the products. This is very nice example from your textbook. Two reactions: copper sulfate, nitric acid, copper nitrate, NO2, NO. अरे ये तो difference आ गया. Water. And the difference in the product is because of the difference in the reactants. The compounds remaining same, nitric acid only. Copper, when it reacts with concentrated nitric acid, it forms nitrogen dioxide. But when copper reacts with dilute nitric acid, it only forms nitric oxide. This is nitric oxide. This is nitrogen dioxide. So this information, concentrated, dilute, this is more information. हम इसमें लिख सकते थे concentrated nitric acid. Concentrated means उसमें पानी कम है. देखो aqueous. Dilute means उसमें पानी ज्यादा है, acid कम. Calcium chloride is CaCl2. Sulfuric acid is H2SO4. They react, so plus between them to form arrow. Calcium sulfate is CaSO4. Hydrogen chloride is HCl. Simple equation. So AgNO3 is silver nitrate. Ag is silver. Chandi. Silver nitrate. Solution. Aqueous means solution. So solution of silver nitrate plus means reacts with NaCl is common salt. AQ is solution of common salt. Arrow to produce. Okay. Yes, we can say silver nitrate or solution of silver nitrate reacts with a solution of common salt to produce AgCl. Ag is silver, Cl is chloride, so silver chloride. Right? And what is this? This is white silver chloride, which precipitates. And a solution of sodium nitrate is formed. This is the meaning. solution of silver nitrate reacts with solution of common salt to produce a white precipitate of silver chloride and a solution of sodium nitrate. Read the pages 30 to 33 from the textbook, make notes and list all the elements and compounds that are mentioned on these pages 30 to 33. Find out their names and their chemical formulae.